In this video, we will be reviewing how to find the area and perimeter or circumference of shapes. So our first shape is a rectangle, and if you look at your formula sheet, the formula for a rectangle is area equals LW, and the L stands for length, and the W stands for width. So we need the area equals the length times the width. And the perimeter formula is P equals 2L plus 2W. So 2 times the length plus 2 times the width. So we need to identify what the length and the width is of the rectangle. So the length is going to be 9, the width is going to be 3.5. What I recommend that you do is we're going to find the area, and I want you to use parentheses and put the letters of what you're using to plug in over the spaces. So the length is 9 and the width is 3.5, and if you use your calculator, 9 times 3.5 is going to give you an area of 31.5. Now when we label this, we're going to label this as millimeters, and because it's area, area is squared. The silly way that I remember this is area squarea. So area squarea, it's millimeters squared for the area. Now perimeter is just plain perimeter. So we don't need any fancy units on it except for what we're actually measuring in. So if we draw out the parentheses with the letters on the top that we need, we're going to put the L, which is the 9 in here, and the 3.5 where the W goes. And I recommend that you break it at the plus sign. So we're going to do 2 times 9 is 18. And 2 times 3.5 is going to be 7. So 18 plus 7 gives you a perimeter of 25 millimeters. And it's just plain millimeters. So that's how you find the area and perimeter of a rectangle. Now to do the area and perimeter of a triangle, the area formula for a triangle, if you look on the formula sheet, is 1/2 BH. The B stands for base, or the bottom of the triangle. The H stands for height, and that's the height of the triangle. So if we come back to the formula and we look, we need a base and a height. So the base we know is the bottom, so that's going to be the B we're going to label. And the height is how tall the triangle stands, so that's going to be 2, not 8. When you are measured at the doctor for how tall you are, you don't lean over and lean sideways for them to measure how tall you are. You stand up nice and straight and tall. So we're going to fill in the formula, and I'm going to leave the little blanks for the B, and I'm going to leave a blank for the H. And then I'm going to come back and fill those in. B is 6, H is 2. You can use your calculator. 1/2 times 6 is going to be 3, and then 3 times 2 is 6. And we're measuring in kilometers, and remember area squarea. Now to do the perimeter of a triangle, there is not a formula on your formula sheet, but you can use what you learned in elementary school, which is just to add all the sides. So if we know all the side measurements, you're just going to add them all together. So we're going to add 2 plus 6 plus 8. And if we do that, we get 16 kilometers. And that's the final answer for that, because it's plain perimeter. Now to do the square, if we look at our formula sheet, the area formula is A equals S squared. And S stands for the side. So that's what S means. So area equals the side squared, and the side in this case is 3.5. And if you do 3.5 squared in your calculator, there's a little exponent button above the division symbol, and then you can hit the 2 and then hit equals. 3.5 to the second power is going to be 12.25 centimeters squared, area squarea. And then perimeter of a square, the formula is 4S or 4 times the side length. So we're going to do 4 times S, and S in this case is 3.5. And if we multiply those, it's going to be 14 centimeters, plane perimeter. Make sure you circle your answers, please. All right, so let's look at the last one. The last one is the circle. The formula for the area of a circle is pi r squared. Now, pi is 3.14. R stands for radius. And the D that's not in that formula stands for diameter. So in our circle right here, this is a diameter. In order to find the diameter, in order to find the radius is half of the diameter. So the way I remember it is the D, this big stick here, is the whole way across the circle, whereas in the R, it only goes halfway across the stick that's in the back that makes the R. So radius is half of the diameter. So we're going to do 4 divided by 2 to get a radius of 2. So when we come over here to this formula, we're going to fill in pi, which is 3.14. Don't use the pi button on your calculator, please. Use the number 3.14. And r is going to be 2. The radius is half of the diameter. If you solve all of this in your calculator, you're going to get 12.56 millimeters squared, area squarea. What I would recommend doing is doing 2 to the second power, which is 4, and then do 4 times 3.14 to make sure that you don't make a mistake. Now the last formula is C equals pi d. You may also see the formula C equals 2 pi r. Both of them mean the same thing. But in this case, we have a diameter, so we're going to use the diameter formula. So this one's pi and this one's d. The diameter is 4 and pi is 3.14. So C is equal to 12.56 millimeters. And it actually just happens to turn out that the circumference and the area are the same measurements. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to read through problem 1. It says, Miss Krause is putting a fence around her backyard so Remy can play outside. The length of her yard is 5 and the width is 3.3. How much fencing will she need? So the formula for this shape, because it says length and width, so it's a rectangle, and we're doing a fence, is going to be P equals 2L plus 2W. And then it says replace the variables. So it says the length of her yard is 5 and the width is 3.3. So 2, that's an L, plus 2, this one will be a W. The length is 5, the width is 3.3. Go ahead and solve that. Get an answer for me. You should have got an answer of 16.6 feet. Just plain feet, because there's no area. Okay? I want you to try 2, 3, and 4 on your own. Unpause the video when you're ready to see the answers. All right, so here are your answers for number 2 and number 3. Number 2 was a triangle. Number 3 was a square. And then number 4 was also a triangle. And they told you that in the problem. So let's do the next 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now these ones are dealing with circles. So if we do the first one together, Mrs. Klemick needs to purchase a new rug. The diameter, so diameter is 8.5. How much floor space will the rug cover? Because we're talking about covering, that's going to be the area formula. Area equals pi r squared. And we need an r. And radius is half of the diameter, so 8.5 divided by 2 gives you a radius, which is 4.25, so that is equal to r. So we have A equals pi r squared, pi is 3.14, r is 4.25. I would solve this exponent first, then multiply by 3.14, and you get 56.71625 feet squared. Okay, so I want you to do 2, 3, and 4 on your own. When you're ready, unpause the video. So here are your answers to 2 and 3. Number 2 was an area problem because they want to know how big the plate is for the cake. So that's an area problem. Don't forget to put it to the second power. Number 3 was a tricky one because Remy's on a leash and she can run around in circles. So you needed to know that the leash is actually a radius because the post would be in the middle and then Remy could run all around. So the radius is 30 for that one. And then the last one was Earth's diameter. So because we're given a radius in number 3, we use the 2 pi r formula for circumference. But because we know the diameter in number 4 with the diameter of the Earth, we use the pi d formula. So depending on whatever piece of the circle you're given, whether it be radius or diameter, that's the formula that you can use for solving the problem.